can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes, when I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees, or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees, or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. 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 I can only imagine when all I would do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine.
Welcome to JCI Live Austin. 5 years ago, I started becoming a producer here at Channel Austin, and it has been the most amazing 5 years that I could ever dream of. Yesterday, my husband, my wonderful husband, and fabulous father to my children passed away and went to heaven. As many of my personal friends know, we have stood on faith that he would be healed, and he was being healed. Every day he became stronger and stronger as he spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And he was actually going into recovery from ICU and having the tubes taken out of him when he had a massive heart attack. They tried so hard at Brackenridge to revive him. In the short 2 weeks that we were there, the whole hospital seemed to love our family, and we loved them. They gave Craig such great care. We thank God for all of our precious friends, our prayer warriors that stood with us in faith that he would be healed. And we did get 2 days with him that the tubes came out, and he was able to talk to us and over and over and over again. In his shortness, his throat was still sore from the tubes being in there for, I think it was 11 days. But he told us over and over again that he loved us, and we told him about all the different, we read the names of all the people that came up to visit him, all the people on our Facebook that was praying for him and believing with our family. Not once, not twice, but 3 times I looked at the doctors and I said, my husband is not going to die, when they gave me the death report that he was going to die. I said, I know the plans that God has given him and his assignment, and his assignment is not over. And with all my heart and with all the hearts of Jonathan and Jamie and the rest of our family, we stood in for our faith. We pleaded the blood of Jesus over him, and he was getting better. It's sometimes really difficult to understand when you stand in so much faith and you see miracles, and you've seen miracles before and you're seeing them before your eyes, what happened. And I don't want anyone's faith to grow, to be lessened because of this experience, because we praise God.
Okay, we were just a little enthralled with what was being said. But welcome to the Trailer Park Folks show, folks. This is
let me say something real quick. There's one thing I think Craig would really want to carry on. Now, we got 4 great candidates here tonight. We didn't know all this was happening, so we'd have given you a lot more time, but the way it is, go ahead.
Oh, we got Mrs. Pokey.
Hold on, I'll say something here.
He told me to go pink. He's snorting in heaven right now. I'm sure he's having a good time with it. But hey, we'll be there on Thursday. Thursday night is going to be their show. They're going to do a show at 8 to 9 on Thursday night on Channel 11. And it's going to be a tribute, and all everybody who knew Craig Gandy could come in down here to the studio and can express their love for the man. But hey, Maureen, Jamie, Jonathan, I feel you.
We'll be keeping you in our thoughts and prayers.
I'm sure he told you to dye your hair pink, right?
But that being said, we want to go ahead and continue on with the show. As you said, Pokey, the show must go on. Welcome back to the Trailer Park Show. We have some great guests here today. If you guys saw the link on Facebook, let me allow us to go ahead and do the introductions. We have on the far end, we have James Slowpoke Ritter. We also have Laura Presley, who is a candidate for Austin City Council, District Number 4. We also have Bill Warsham, who's a candidate for District Number 10. We also have Jay Wiley, who's a candidate also for City Council for District Number 6. We have Sam Osemi, and I hope Osemini, my apologies. Sam Osemini, who is a candidate also for District Number 1. And we got Michael Cargill from Central Tickets and Gunworks, who is going to help me out with this darn computer because this is not pretty. Not that I have a problem with HP, but this is not pretty. And yours truly. So, so welcome aboard. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. All right. Thanks.
Shall we start down here, I guess?
Let's go ahead. Yes, if possible, we'd like to see if we can get a brief introduction of who you are, why you're running for City Council, and what you hope to bring as a potential member of City Council.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm Laura Presley, and I'm running for District 4, and I live in the Runberg, St. John's, kind of Highland Mall area. And my main focus on our campaign, and Austin's affordability issues need to be fixed, and there are a lot of solutions. We want to push forth a homestead exemption. We want to reduce subsidies for these big corporations in town, and you can implement a homestead exemption if you cut the subsidies. All right, so we can cut subsidies and not cut services, and that's the big thing, that the big threat that's always these guys that are on the council right now say, we can't have a homestead exemption because we'd have to cut services. No, you don't. You cut the subsidies. So that's our main focus.
Excellent. Mr. Worsham.
Hi, my name is Bill Worsham, and I'm running for City Council District 10. I live in the Deep Eddy subdivision, Deep Eddy area, south of Terrytown in West Austin. And I'm a civil engineer and have been a engineering project manager for about 25 years. And I guess the reason that I'm in this race is I feel a calling to it because we have a unique opportunity here for the first time in many years. And I think that we can start to shine the light on some things in the city and in city government that haven't seen the light in quite some time. And I think a lot of good can be done. And I think that there are a number of people that have not been able to get their points across for years, and this is truly a unique time. I look forward to taking that time, shining the light on some issues. As Laura mentioned, we certainly have transportation issues, we have spending issues, we have bureaucracy issues. And so I think if we can take care of those basic things that city government should be taking care of, then it will allow us to prosper and be stewards of the environment and stewards of the people all across Austin.
My name's Jay Wiley. I'm a candidate for Austin City Council in District 6, which is the far northwest part of the city, Avery Ranch, Anderson Mill, down to 4 Points, that whole far western piece of the city. It's an area of town that's really felt alienated from the city for a long time, and a lot of suburban residents, a lot of taxpayers. I'm running for Austin City Council because we've had powerful voices at City Hall for a long time for a lot of different projects, a lot of different special interests. But what we haven't had on Austin City Council ever is an advocate for taxpayers. And so that's the core reason that I'm running. I want to be a champion for taxpayers. And so that's why I'm running for Austin City Council. I think we need lower taxes. I think we need less government. And I think we need to change the culture at City Hall to one which really respects taxpayers. And that's why I talk a lot about fiscal responsibility. I think that's really something that we need to have a new focus on. And what better time to do that than with the new 10-1 City Council plan. So that's why I'm running.
All right, my name is Sam Osemene. Most of you guys know who I am already because I ran for City Council before. And I live in District 1. Basically, I live on Harris Branch area, but my neighborhood is in District 1. I'm running for City Council because I believe Austin should be affordable to everybody. I think the way the City Council has conducted businesses for the past couple of years has been very, very unconscionable. And I think there are many ways we can address the issues of affordable housing. I believe everybody should be able to live in this city instead of being run out of the city. Transportation issues, Capital Metro, to my own experience, has not really done a very good job at all. And also public safety. The city is growing, and I strongly believe we need to give the men and women the tools they need in protecting us. And I think the City Council has compromised sometimes our public safety in the name of political correctness. So as a candidate for the District 1, I'm going to be your voice at the City Hall, fighting for the people, because I strongly believe power belongs to the people. Thank you very much.
Very good. Excellent. I love it.
And for the record, these are all the people that I like. Everyone on this panel, I like everyone on this panel.
We like you, Michael.
These are the ones that we're going to vote for.
I love it. All right, so we have some questions that have been due to recent events that have occurred within the city of Austin. With City Council, there's some questions that we have designated as important questions to be asking all candidates because of the severity of the nature of what we believe of the situation. One of the big items that has always been talked about with every city council member when it comes to election time is the roads. 183 is going around the city. We have toll roads on that. We have 360. We have 290. We have God knows what else around here. 71 and everything else. And everybody's talking about 35 being the main port of access to get from north to south, especially when people don't want to pay for tolls. There's a study that was put out recently where it's indicating that people going from north to south, in particular from going to Austin to Round-Market, will be taking probably about 3 hours to get from point A to point B. You guys are the start of city council to make those changes. What viewpoints, what ideas do you want to bring forth to help with easing the congestion? Ms. President, we're going to start with you.
Oh, you give me the easy question, don't you?
You're looking at, I'm like, hey, all right.
Yeah. Well, I saw first of all, that people don't know how to take the back roads. I'm going to tell you, if it takes them 3 hours. That's the first problem right there. We take the back roads. But seriously, we have a lot of traffic congestion, and if you look at the root cause, I'm an engineer by training, and if you look at the root cause of what's going on, the city council and several organizations in town spend millions of dollars every year to advertise for people to come here. I have a small business, and if I advertise, I get more business. Michael, you have a small business. When you advertise, you get more business. So what's happening is they're spending our tax dollars and advertising for more people to come here, and we're running out of water. The roads are congested. We don't have capacity anymore, and they're spending our money to do it. So there's a big problem there. Number one, I would take the foot off the pedal just a little bit, okay, and let the growth be more organic instead of advertise for more and more people to come here. That's number one. You got to deal with you can deal with the supply side of the problem, or you can deal with the demand side. Let's look at the demand first place, and that would be the first place I would start. And plus, it saves our tax dollars, okay, to advertise for more people to come here and use more water. It caused me not to be able to water my grass, or take me 3 hours to go from downtown to Pflugerville or Georgetown or whatever. So that's number one. Second thing is there's a lot of tactical things we can do from our road system. I saw a study yesterday, actually Saturday, that TxDOT had done on the upper deck of I-35, and they said that the bridges were never designed to handle that third lane of traffic, which we are striped. You could stripe that bridge to be another extra lane. And I'm like, wow, man, I really would like to see that engineering study of how come we have to build more instead of go back, and I'll bet those engineers did design that thing to have 3 lanes of traffic. So where's that data? So I asked the question in this presentation. I'd like to see the engineering data on why the bridges can't hold that. So there's solutions like that, more striping. There's timing of lights. There's more efficient roadway type ramps and stuff. I want to pursue all of those less expensive methods first, and then take the pedal off. Yeah. Take your foot off the pedal. Yes.
Yeah, so that's on the demand side, and on the supply side, we've developed a tradition of spending a very large percentage of our transportation dollars on modes of transportation that carry a very small number of commuters. And to put it quite bluntly, we're spending a lot of money on trains that aren't really addressing our congestion problem. They're fantastic for some festivals and some Saturday nights and some times of the day that don't do a whole lot for you and I to get to and from work. But so I think in terms of how we allocate our resources among transportation modes, I think to the extent that we choose to and would like to subsidize trips, perhaps we should subsidize trips for workers that are trying to get to work and improve their lives, rather than subsidize people and family with multiple cars in the garage to try to convince them to get out of their cars. We're spending over $20 per trip to bring people in from Leander on the Red Line, and meanwhile our bus service on the east side suffers. I don't think that's the right equation. So allocating the resources to the modes where the vast majority of trips are used, which is on the roads in vehicles, I think, and then using our transit funds to help people get to their jobs, the people that rely on transit to get to their jobs. And so those are two things. I'll leave it there.
Well, I would just say, have you ever noticed how much more complicated and longer it takes to do everything when there's a whole lot of government involved? I've noticed that, and I feel like there's layer after layer after layer of bureaucracy when it comes to Campo and TxDOT and every other organization that have a lot of overlapping moving parts. When they make a simple decision, it seems to take a decade or more for it to come to fruition, and then by then it's already obsolete. I think what we need to do is focus. Well, number one, I'd echo a lot of what Bill had to say. I think that we're focusing on a lot of boutique things like trains and things like that. And, I think trains are fine if there's a demand for it, but they're hemorrhaging money. It's just not cost effective yet. In the future, I hope it is, but today it's not. Today, what people want and they need are more roads. Out in District 6 where I am, we've got a lot of people that use their car a lot. Now, the red train does run right through, the red line runs right through District 6, but like I say, it's hemorrhaging money. 75 to 85% of Austin commuters drive alone to work. Now, we can keep ignoring that, or we can build public policy around the world that actually exists, the Austin that actually exists, where people actually do want and need their cars. So I think we need road projects first, and I think the way that we do that is we start streamlining a lot of government hurdles that are in the way. Let's streamline the project and review process, the environmental process. We can cut a lot of the fat in that process so that we can start building these roads, and not in a decade, but now. I think that's the key thing that we need to do, and we'll see a lot of the congestion problems clear up, not overnight, and it's not the only fix, but it's the key thing we need to focus on.
Thank you. One of the issues I've been talking about since this campaign is transportation issue. I think there are many ways we can look at it. Let me focus on District 1 for a minute. If you drive around in District 1, the roads are not car-worthy, more or less. The roads are not being maintained. And I strongly believe what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. I feel like some part of the city is being neglected, per se. And what does it lead to? Everybody wants to follow the same route, I-35, which leads to congestion. So how do you solve the problem? Focus on every part of the city. If you go to East Austin, Springdale area, Manor Road, to the Harris Branch area, the city doesn't pay much attention because of lack of representation. So we live in the same city, so when we talk about affordable city or quality of life, those are the things we're talking about. It doesn't make sense if you live on East 12th or East 11th Street or in District 1, it takes you an hour to get from point A to point B. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to really solve the problem, what you do is you spread the resources around. We all pay tax in this city, so I think a common sense solution is to look at the policies in the past, because you cannot use the same mentality that created a problem to solve the problem. So I think the city council has more or less had this misconception of how to direct resources. So District 1 is like tale of two cities. If you drive around East Austin and go to the West Austin area, you see a huge difference. So I think the issue of transportation is very, very important. And Capital Metro, like I said before, needs a big overhaul. I don't think it has lived up to its expectations and the trust we have in Capital Metro. So there are many ways we can look at it. So I think one of these is just the policy angle and change the way we look at direct our resources. And a good example is, let me just point one issue. Last year, the city of Austin had about $14 million in surplus. What did the city council decide to do with the money? They're talking about building a homeless shelter. What about fixing our roads, sidewalks, helping those that are in need, subsidizing the elderly, the poor in our communities? So it's about priorities. So that's why I would like your votes. Sam Osemene for District 1. I will fight for you. It's a common sense solution for a collective problem. Thank you very much.
I believe he will. Y'all got any questions for him on this transportation?
Any additional questions that you have?
Has anyone considered actually asking the different businesses or different state agencies to actually stagger when their employees actually go to work, because we actually, at one time, we would go to class in South Austin at 8 o'clock in the morning, and traffic was really bad. So I pushed it back to 10 o'clock, which seems to be a lot better on traffic, and everyone, people show up on time now. So anyone think about, maybe that's, an idea, asking the different agencies to actually stagger their time when the people are supposed to go to work. And also maybe putting some of those funds from, some of the funds toward your big trucks, your commercial drivers, and actually letting them take the toll road for free or a cheaper rate, because they're already being double taxed as it is. They're taxed at the pumps, and they're also taxed once a year by the IRS, paying a fuel tax. So they're double taxed, in some cases triple taxed. So then to ask them to pay a tax to take the toll road is going to be a bit much. So instead of putting some of that money, those millions of dollars, focusing on bike routes or some other things, putting some of that money toward letting the big trucks actually take the toll road.
Great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been funds put toward paying tolls for trucks to take Highway 130 around Austin. As long as you do that during times of congestion and not just say, all day and night, that can be a very effective way to keep trucks out of downtown Austin. Absolutely.
Because there's some major cities in this country where what they do is they actually make it mandatory for those big trucks to actually route around the city.
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice.
Hazardous through trucks, yeah.
So you're not allowed to go through the city. So we can actually do that.
I'd almost, before I get to my question, I'd like to follow up on some more of his. Why not all the time? Because as a truck driver myself for 35 years, I wouldn't get on that toll road. At $1.50 an axle every how many miles? Yeah, right. If you get those what's the figure? 80% of the 18-wheelers on 35 are going right through.
Hey, did you just drop the F-bomb?
No.
No,
No.
we didn't. Nobody.
No F-bombs or F-bombs.
She knows I get all upset about trucks.
That was me under my breath.
But thanks for reminding us.
Thanks for reminding us.
That's a good point.
If you can get those trucks off
Someone was
35,
thinking it,
that's gonna go a long way to reducing congestion.
So let me ask, who's been on I-130 lately?
And I gotta have a bus question up before we go on to past transportation, but
Yeah.
any
Don't get me started on bicycle lanes.
Okay, just quickly,
go ahead, Sam.
just to add to what about transportation issues, I strongly believe. Well, I don't think government should be telling people per se when to go to work or restricting our movement.
That's true. I agree.
I think if we want to solve the problem, because we need our freedom, people should be able to leave their home, go to work when they choose to do that. How do you solve the problem? Is look at the policies that have not worked in the past.
Well, I just told you my idea is get those trucks off the freeway.
Well, if somebody's making a living, somebody has their family to feed. That's the only job they have. So how do you solve the problem? If you have to build more roads or encourage different behavior modification, you can do all that. Give people incentives. If you ask someone you can be on the road from 10 a.m. to 5. It sounds like big government to me.
Would you favor giving the incentive of cutting for commercial vehicles, cutting the toll by 3/4?
What you could do is reduce
It's $1.50 an axle, Sam. That's
but you can reduce how much they pay in toll. Just reduce the price.
Reduce the price by 3/4, maybe they get on the more.
Encourage a lot of people. Look at how much they pay. If you pay $1.50 to get on the toll road, you can bring that to 50 cents or 25 cents.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Incentives.
I presume y'all would favor spending some money on that kind of project.
If you look at the ROI and see what's the cheapest thing to do, and it may be to
That
reduce
seems like a simple-
reduce those fees. But I've been on 130, and I have been in absolute standstill traffic. Have y'all been on 130?
130?
Oh yes, multiple times at rush hour. There is standstill traffic on 130.
Wow.
So it really, what you're saying, Michael, really is the bottom line. It's a capacity bottleneck type issue, and what you do with that, you try to give incentives. You don't force anybody to shift their time, but I think what you're saying is brilliant, because that really fixes the issue. And then pull the foot off the pedal. Quit just advertising for people to come here, because if we can't just continually advertise for people to come here and build more and more and more and more, and then we don't have any options. So we've got to do both.
I don't think there's any harm in asking the government agencies, the state, your different state agencies who all work downtown to ask them to stagger their employees.
I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah,
What
just
they
ask.
Very
The worst thing to do is say no.
That's what a factory would do. That's what a semiconductor
sure.
factory would do.
And
They
I
would
think-
stagger. They would address their bottlenecks and redirect.
And I think
That's
we've
what
all
you
been
do.
in that situation where we've said, no, don't come at 9, come at 10, because
Right.
it doesn't make sense for you to come. So I've always wondered that, Michael,
'Cause we-
actually
'cause we
myself,
have a-
why we don't,
It's a great idea.
and maybe like Sam was saying, don't make it maybe mandatory, but I bet you if you say, hey, look, you can be flexible in your time, I
'Cause they
bet you a
probably
lot of
never
people
even-
would take you up on that.
And they probably never even thought about it.
No, they probably didn't.
Well, yeah,
I bet
I've
not.
worked, yeah.
I
Come on,
bet.
come on, you're telling me that
This is-
Mikey Boy is.
We could have, imagine this, city council does this all the time. They set up these short-term tactical task forces, have heads of
And
companies.
how much money?
No, for free. For free.
that's
For free.
not
I
all
like
that.
free. I
I like
love
that
free.
price.
I like free. So have these big corporations come in and put them on the task force and say, you guys, we don't have the solution, but you do. And give us a solution, make a recommendation. That's the way you
and if
do it.
it-
You involve business.
If it turns out,
It's a great idea.
But Laura, the whole issue is where if you allow government to do something like that, where do they stop? One step by step, something else is a.
Sam, it's voluntary. It's not
Exactly.
we're not
What we
saying
have to
we're
do,
not
though,
saying
is-
mandatory at all. It's voluntary.
It's
It's a corrective
the
action.
incentive to do certain things. We got vacation time off. There are things we can do. Let it be more, like you said, voluntary stuff. But it becomes mandatory. It becomes a very big issue, a big problem.
Well, let the businesses make the
businesses,
solution
the
proposal.
businesses
There you go.
will adjust, because there will never actually be a 3-hour trip from Austin to Round Rock, because the businesses and individuals will each in their own way adjust.
But that's study.
And even Tim Lomax at Texas A&M Transportation,
I disagree with that study though, because when I heard it, they say 3 hours from wherever to go to Round Rock. I was like, you kidding me?
well, the author of the study says that he doesn't expect that to ever happen. He's just pointing out that
But who funded
you-
the study though? Those I think we have to find out who funded the study.
Well, the
What are they
argument
looking
is
for?
out there. The discussion is out there, and it's something that
Yeah.
is a problem because of the fact that we've all been on I-35, and it's horrible. We go between 4 o'clock and 7,
Right.
and if you want to go from south to north, it's a pain in the tuchus. I mean, that's something that I think we can all agree on.
Sure.
But it's just a matter of trying to figure out how we can come up with some other alternatives that, as city council members,
The rail,
that,
look at the rail.
Something can be
You
agreed
can
upon
look at
so
the
that
rail, the
people can,
urban rail and stuff like that. There are other ways you can fix it, take the train, public transportation will work. there are
Well, I
many
think
ways
Mike
to
is right. Y'all would all work
Right.
well on city council together, huh?
Well,
Y'all seem to play well with each other.
City Council for decades, they have tied a Gordian knot of traffic. It's going to take a long time for the new council.
How's it working for us
It's-
now?
It's going to take a
It's not
long
working.
time
It's not
We
working.
for
can
a
do more
new
of the
city
same
council
if we
to
want.
untie that knot. It's
Yeah,
going to
that's
take a
right.
long time. It's very, very difficult. We've got our work cut out for us on council.
But
We really
Jay,
certainly
Do
do.
they
Jay,
set us up?
you see how we got here? We got here because of the past mentality in the 70s and in the 80s.
Yeah.
Don't build it. If you build it, they will come.
Right.
Now they come. You have to build it. So you see what's going on. So people will come, no matter what. If we don't want to encourage people to come, people will move. So we're trying to fix the problem of the 80s and the 70s. Look at San Antonio, for instance. They have a very good means of transportation.
San
But
Antonio's
often,
got-
no, we don't want it because we don't want people to come here. Now they're here. What do? You have to address the problem.
Okay, well, one more question related to traffic.
Well, I'm about to skip
One-
on the
one-
metro
one last
question, I
and
guess.
There'll be a yes and no. There's a bill that's gonna be placed on there's gonna be something on the vote in November. One of the propositions that's gonna say $1.2 billion to do a train that goes from Riverside to downtown. Part of that money is gonna go to fix the roads on I-35. Would you approve of it? Yes or no?
Do you
Mr.
know the
Wiley,
bill she's talking about?
You know which bill we're talking about?
yes.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Wiley.
No. I'd vote no.
Okay. Mr. Semeny.
I'd like to look to study it more to make an informed decision on that one.
Okay. Ms. Presley.
It's not up to us. It's up to the voters. If this city
True,
council,
but you're
so let me just be real clear. If the city council puts it on the ballot, then it's up to all the voters. And I tell you, I've been block walking for 2 months, and about 85 to 90% of the people I talk to say they do not want it. So as a city council person, we have to understand that we represent our district. We do not represent ourselves, we represent our voters. So I'm going to say that the voters will make the decision, and what I'm hearing from my district, 80 to 90% say no way.
As a citizen, how would you vote?
As a citizen, I think it's damn expensive.
Nice, fun.
Yeah.
Bill?
What's the worst of it? Let me go ahead and ask that.
Well, the short answer is no, and don't take the bait of the road additions onto it, because we should be doing that anyway. And if it takes adding hundreds of millions of dollars worth of roads to even attempt to get 50% of the vote for the rail, that should tell you what a turkey the rail project is.
How much of that falls on the state of Texas versus the city of Austin when it comes to the roads? The
The
responsibility.
city's putting it on the ballot.
As far as getting, as far as the
As the
funding.
bond.
Well, they're trying to
Yeah.
get federal money.
That's right.
They're looking at
So none of it's responsible of the state of Texas?
You're asking about the who's
Highways.
responsible for paying for the roads?
Right.
Well, I mean, clearly we get state funding for roads. One of the problems we have is because of the lack of council support for roads or lack of agreement on what to build, TxDOT's happy to go to communities that welcome their money for projects that they know will actually get built and won't get hung up in either regulatory or other kinds of difficulties that keep them from getting built.
So the city of Austin is not getting that money because we're not asking for it?
That's you could say it that way. If you want other people's money, you need to be receptive to the projects, and I think we've we're active. The city council is fighting some of the roads that the community desperately needs to be put in right now.
Well, the city
It's a
council
bad
has
signal.
had a public policy stance for a long time, a preference for not building roads. I mean, we know that. They've got a preference for bike lanes and trains and all kinds of other transportation solutions, but roads has definitely been on the back burner, and that's a public policy preference that's been at city council for a long time now. That's going to change a little bit, I think, in the new council. But we got to keep pushing for we got to keep pushing for it. I mean, like Bill said, I mean, I think that don't fall for the bait of sweetening the pot with some road money. We should be doing that already. Like I said, 75 to 85% of Austin commuters travel alone in their cars to work. So why? So any reasonable transportation solution, I believe, should have roads first, and then we can talk about some of these other solutions.
It's very concerning to me. A rail system is an inflexible system. It's there. You can't build around. You can't build. You can't move it. And I think it was you, Sam, that said the bus system is messed up in North Austin, where my district is. North Lamar is the most congested of the whole city, and we could improve the way the bus system works up there. We have health centers that people can't get to. They're public health, community care clinics. People in my district can't get to them because there's no bus service to it, and we've got to fix those things.
Well,
So
Laura,
there's
to
a lot
that
of
point,
issues.
I think it's very interesting if you notice that in the whole United States, 65% of rail ridership is centered in about 5 cities. And those 5 cities were all cities that were major metropolitan areas before the automobile existed. And so that's pretty key. I think, when we compare ourselves to these other cities, it's apples and oranges, because in the timeline of American history, Austin's a fairly new city. So it's really apples and oranges when we start comparing ourselves to other cities that have sustainable or sort of sustainable rail lines.
And also, just to talk about the Capital Metro on transportation issues.
I was going to ask about Capital Metro, but we are going to run out of time, so hurry up.
This is a big topic.
Yeah, it is a big
very
topic.
interesting topic. I've driven around District 1. If you talk to a lot of people that live in my district, there are some areas you don't have bus stops. They have to drop you a mile plus.
Yeah.
You
I'll
have
agree.
to walk.
Yeah,
So
When you're walking, you have impaired or whatever you call me.
Do you think that'll get better or worse if we spend tens of millions of dollars a year more on rail?
That rail money buy a lot of buses and make a lot more bus routes.
I think one of the problems with the
You
rail
don't have to walk so
system-
far to get to the bus stop.
Okay, I think one of the problems people have when it comes to the rail system is this: when you sell a bond package to everybody to vote on, and when it passes, some areas of the town will benefit, some don't. How do you connect the whole city? You know, you just mentioned about $1 billion about the train and all that kind of stuff, from Riverside to downtown. That's not the only place in the city.
You would
what
need,
about
you would need $10 billion.
Exactly.
To
So
make that
it's
work.
about priorities.
Where is that going to come from?
Yeah, we just focus on downtown area. all
We
these
can do it
areas,
with
you know,
buses.
You know,
With the regional, like up there in
Buses are flexible, that you can,
Yeah.
when jobs move, when businesses move or companies move.
transfer
you can-
centers in
or they
Midwide,
pop up, or
Lamar.
they
And they're
grow.
much more cost effective than
They're
rail.
flexible.
even where I
You
live,
have
we
to
don't even
stay
have a bus
flexible.
stop where I live right here, all the way on Harry's
Well, I know we got other important questions to ask you on subjects other than transportation.
And I want to point out something right now.
Quickly.
At no time has anybody argued.
That's
This is
true.
really great. So, folks, if you guys really want to see how representatives can work,
We really agree
right
on
here.
a lot.
Well, you
And
gotta-
people
you're right,
running,
but it- but
people
it's-
running in these races, in these 10 districts, we're fed up.
True.
Fed up.
That is
And
true.
we know what's broken, and we know what needs to be better. So
And it's fabulous that everybody
power.
can have a discussion without having to be upset with one another. I love it. It's great. So, do you want to continue on with the other question?
Yeah, first I could real quick point out that this 10-1 came together with a real bipartisan thing. There was only one large political entity in this town that did not back it. Travis County Democrat Party.
status quo doesn't like change.
Yeah, I suppose water,
that's- I
wastewater is
wonder
not
why.
near as exciting as transportation, but you know I really like my wastewater subject because what do we live in cities for? So we can just push it in there and it all goes. And that's very important, actually. You have discussed water before, and I know it wasn't long ago we were voting down a water treatment plant,
Oh, my gosh.
and that looks like we may be needing it.
Not yet.
Not yet, but not
Not
too
yet.
far down the road.
Maybe 10 years from now,
But
maybe.
it depends on where you build it, though.
If you keep advertising, you might need it.
Well, you know, man, you kind of
Let's
differ
slow
on that a
down-
little
let's
bit
slow down
because
on the advertising.
I kind of like it. I like to sell often.
Do you like your water rates going up?
Of course not.
Okay. What about your utility rates? Do you like all that?
I
You
like
you
to push
paying-
the button and it all goes, and I ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that's handled
All this-
properly,
all
environmentally
All
soundly.
this
And
bringing people here is supposed to lower our taxes, Pokey. What
no,
happened?
it's supposed to create business.
And did it fix it? You know, how's it working?
It worked pretty good. There's lots of dump. You know mine. A couple of dump trucks. You see dump trucks on the road? We're doing real well. And there ain't no
And they
portion
can't
for
live in
sale.
Austin. That's a problem.
True, you can't get nowhere on
You
that
can't
dump
live in
truck because you're in a
Austin.
parking lot on
You can
35.
move- You can move all the dirt everywhere, but don't live here, right? Because you can't. That's the issue.
Nonetheless, what's another important subject besides transportation, water, wastewater?
One of the big things in my area, I live in District 1, is that trash dump that we have in District
Solid waste.
Yes.
Oh,
What are
yeah.
what are we going? That's a really big thing. It's such a big thing that people actually spent money putting up signs,
I saw that.
complaining about it. In
And you
District
can't
1.
make Dilla dirt out of it.
Right. And it has not been addressed or mentioned by City Council at all.
Exactly.
Because now that's the biggest thing I see when I walk outside my door. I see that trash heap before I see the
It's a mountain.
ET Tower
Yeah.
or anything downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I live, right on Harris Branch area. The landfill over there is a mess. I think I've argued before. I think it's time to shut it down because it doesn't make sense. And
Put it where?
well, it doesn't have to be here. Let's take it to another city. I don't care, but not in District 1. It's in the middle of the city right now.
That's what we can do with those those trains.
Yeah.
With all that trash.
But Pookie, we don't want to make like District 1 seems to be more like the dumping part of the city. Everybody wants to dump everything east of Austin. It's not
That's
right.
true.
People live there. People live in that.
Yeah, we don't have Gavino here for that one. We moved the tank farm from East Austin, just moved it further east.
Yeah, so something has to be done. The city council, it comes down to what I said, Mr. Cargill. It's about policies and priorities. It seems like council members always neglect the east side for some reason because some of them have this mentality they don't vote, so we don't have to spend time or resources in that part of town. So that's why I'm so happy with this single member district because it's going to draw the attention of a lot of people that we need to change business the way it's been
So where do
done.
we move it?
Yeah,
Well,
so what's the solution, Sam?
Well, we
What do
can
you
move it though.
think?
I remember there was a time people were saying, well, let's move to like Weberville and just way deeper, buy a line and do it. Why are you going to bring somebody's trash from out of town and dump it over there in the city of Austin? It doesn't make sense. Somebody's making profit
But
out
what would you
of
say
it.
is the solution?
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Buy it just
Like, how
subcontract to
further
somebody
out,
else.
How further out can we go?
Move further out.
Move further out. It's in the middle of the
South.
town. It's right now in the middle of the city. So
Correct.
we have to move.
Correct. Now the big question comes up is where, because there's cities out there, major cities that have a mini landfill in their area, but then they've moved out of the area to go ahead and do a more regional one. Where in Travis County can we put one?
It doesn't have to be in Travis County.
Hold on here, down south, what's the name of this place? By,
Manchac? No, I'm just kidding.
no, we've had our parties out there before.
You're
They
talking about
get,
Texas Disposal Service. Yeah.
yeah, is that it? They're really environmentally sound in how they do this. They can reuse the land for all kinds of things. Is there another way to handle our solid waste besides what we're doing?
I just wonder
Do
what
we
the
think about-
environmentalists would say to moving it somewhere else. I just wonder about the bureaucratic hurdles that would be involved in doing that. I'm sure that would be difficult to do.
Yeah, but if you can recall, I think it was a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, the city of Austin was trying to shut it down, so something happened. So they have to renew the contract. They said, oh, we can increase it about 17 inches, a little bit, And what happened, the mayor asked the city manager to deal with that situation. So the city manager made that decision because it was an election year. So nobody has to be held accountable for it. My whole thing is it has to be moved. It's in the middle of the city right now. When it was built, it was like outskirts of the city. The city has expanded, just like Laura was talking about. People are coming down here. More homes are being built, so you can live in the middle of it.
So let me put you on the spot then.
Go ahead.
And this is the big part. You're elected to city council. And everybody in District 1 says, get it out of here. And you have to work with everybody else. Where are we going to put it? There's got to be a spot. You got to say, where is it going to be?
We find a contractor that is willing to take the contract. My understanding is there's they bring some trash from some counties outside Travis County to dump in that landfill. If they can bring, let's say, from Williamson County, let's say from other counties, why can't we also shut it down and move our trash to another county?
Jay, what do you think? What should we do?
I don't know. This is an issue.
Free market, let them take care of it.
I'm in District 6, which is further west, and I don't know enough about it. But
They ain't going to District 6, are they?
No, it's not.
Probably
But,
not. River
you know,
Place
this
is not
is
They
going
bring
to
their
take it.
trash
River
over.
Place, they can take it.
River Place
This
ain't
is
taking
one of
it.
those things. I mean, we're going to need. This is a great example of how we're going to need 6 votes to get everything through council.
Well, we
better
got 10
have a
minutes
good
to go over something
we
else
better-
here.
we don't have enough time. We better have a
exemption.
good relationship with each other, and
we're
we better
stagnant-
understand
we're
that we're
stagnant
each
high in
coming
District
to each
1.
other. We better understand we're each coming to each other in good faith. That's one of the key things. Someone asked me what would be the first thing that I would do on council. Well, it would be that. It would be making sure that we've got good relationships with our colleagues, because when the first starts flying, and it will at some
It
point,
will, yeah.
over one thing or another, now that we're in districts, we better understand that we're coming at each other in good faith and have good relationships. And so I feel like we've got I've got a good relationship with a lot of candidates. Some I'm just meeting for the first time, but that's certainly one of those issues that we better have good relationships with each other.
We had good relationships
I'd
with
like to see-
transportation, but
I'd like to see the amount of garbage that we've generated that.
Solid waste.
Solid waste that has gone down based on the zero waste initiatives that the city's done. And I don't know what the data
That's
is.
true.
But I would like to see it and see what level of slowdown of the buildup and give us a timeline to deal with this in an effective and long-term strategic way. But I'd like to see that data.
I got a yes or no question in. 3-stream. Instead of 2-stream like we are now, would y'all favor a 3-stream?
Anything that would be, more effective. I'd have to
Okay,
see
you
it.
might want to expand a little.
Yeah,
bit.
what is
What
it?
is Free
Expensive.
Street?
What is
Oh,
It's gonna be expensive
recycling.
for
Right now, we
businesses.
have 2 cans. You got the trash and you put glass and cardboard, things like that in.
Well,
They're
Now
talking
we're
about
single stream.
3-stream.
We're single stream now. We are.
You get 2 cans, one for trash and one for,
Yeah, but my understanding, your stream of the recycling is single stream.
oh, okay, we don't count the
Recyc-
garbage as
No,
the
you don't,
stream.
because that goes a different place. But single stream is you put everything in one and then it gets sorted later.
Well, now they want 3 cans, so there'll be glass and bottles, all that, and plus the,
Has to sort it, yeah.
Well, I think directly to the point is we're headed toward, as the council says, we're headed toward composting.
Composting,
for
yeah.
everyone, and whether it's the restaurant downtown,
We already got
Or-
Dylan Dirt. What more you want?
but, you know, the proposal right now is going to cost a lot of money for
That's-
private businesses. And the folks that are making the decisions on how expensive that's going to be for private businesses have not run private businesses.
Yeah, that's right.
And have
That's
not run
true.
restaurants and don't,
That's right.
and haven't seen the engineering side of things where actually you had a dumpster, now you're going to have 3. And you're going to have 3 drives toward those dumpsters, and you're going to have
3 times the trucks, 3 times the crews.
Yeah, hire
Absolutely.
somebody to
Well,
do
And
this.
if you
I think
ask,
it's crazy too, but
if you ask the
I was
people
there at
that-
that Imagine Austin stuff. They came up with all this.
if you ask the people that voted for it, they'll tell you, oh, this isn't going to cost the city anything. Well, guess
They
what?
always claim.
It's going to cost every restaurant.
Well,
ahead,
I oppose composting. I've been, like Laura, I've been block walking for a long time. I haven't talked to anyone who's supported Project Connect, and I haven't talked to anyone who thinks the composting is a good idea. In fact, I've talked to some folks who are in that pilot program that the city has where they're doing composting, and they say it's a nightmare. I've talked to people who have lived in other cities where composting is mandatory. And the city got away from it because it was just a disaster. I'm skeptical whenever government has a scheme to, I think their heart's in the right place. I really do. I've met a lot of environmentalists, and I think their heart's in the right place. I think they're misguided about composting and some other things that we'll get into later. But I'm opposed to composting, and I'll fight against that.
I
think
go
it's a
back
bad
to my
idea.
favorite dump down south. You know, down there they have they're really good at it, and it's all for profit. So
Yeah,
go ahead, so
Yeah.
I didn't mean
They,
to cut
they
you off.
will profit off of composting,
no, I think,
Yeah,
I think,
you can if you
but
know
they're
how to do it.
profiting off of the
Yes.
businesses.
Go ahead, Sam.
yeah, I think whatever we can do to protect the environment is a good thing. It's just the way we approach it that's the key. And I don't think anybody here is against protecting the environment. It's just the way
We all want clean
government
water.
trying to implement the policies. So that's why it comes down to priorities. You know, when you if you go down to 505 Baton Springs, you know, I've been there a couple of times, you'll be shocked. There's some individuals out there who have never created a job for anyone in their lives. All they live is just to collect paychecks. They're going to tell you how to run your business. You know, it's kind of crazy. Bureaucracy, big policies. Even talking about affordable housing in the city of Austin, for instance, to build a single home, you know what you have to go through with the city of Austin. So, who pays for it? The consumer. If I build a home, the rent goes up, your mortgage, everything goes up because these guys that made these policies, they don't live in the real world.
We got 5 minutes. This is
So
part of
that's how I
your
look at
end out speech here.
Okay, quick question for you guys, and I will try to make this as brief as possible. All I need is just a simple yes or no. July 3rd, City Council moved to try to have the SCOM program, which is basically funding for Travis County, to remove funding from Travis County to deal with the ICE detainers.
There's some.
The big question that comes up on here, it's been a big dispute between City Council and Sheriff Greg Hamilton. As a City Council member, if this continues on with the ICE detainers and wanting to remove the money from the Travis County Sheriff's Department, would it be something that you would support? Sam, if I may.
I think we live in a country of law. And I strongly believe, based on what I've read and heard so far, if you come here, you violate the law, you don't want to follow our law, you have no business
Not
being
exactly a
here.
yes or no answer, but go ahead.
You know, in politics, you don't answer yes or no answer.
Okay, I think we got the idea on that one. Ms. Presley,
Well, I actually I'm very concerned about just the whole fight that's going on with the city and the sheriff. And I've talked to Greg Hamilton, Sheriff Hamilton, and what?
Call Greg.
call Greg.
Call Greg. Yes. Well, I have a guy in my race, Greg, too. So there's 2 Gregs. But I'm very concerned about the fighting that's going on and not the talking. So I actually asked Sheriff Hamilton
right,
if I
we
could
hear
sit
that.
down and have a meeting with him and understand his side of it. I'm not going to take a side until I understand both sides of it. And right now, I don't understand the sheriff's side.
We're down to 3 minutes. So
We need to have figure that piece out.
You know, well, I think whichever side of it you're on, it's it's pandering without proposing a solution. It's the easiest thing in the world to pander to a particular group, and not without any regard to the impacts or the incentives that you create. And so I think having that, one without the other, I think isn't fruitful. I think we're much better off having the hard conversations rather than being divisive.
Okay, Mr. Wiley.
I agree completely with Bill. I mean, I think that it's. I would support the sheriff in this. I just think it's a terrible idea, and I think the sheriff is right. The city council shouldn't have taken that action. I disagree with it completely.
Yeah. My understanding
without
about this whole
plan of action.
That's right.
Yeah, my
to do
understanding about this whole ICE issue is this: when you get arrested, and they have the right to ask you about your immigration status, and if you're illegal, then the sheriff has called INS to detain you. So my thing is, it's fine. You're here. If you commit a crime, basically, we're a country of law, like I said before. You have no business being here.
And it's very simple. I think Sheriff Hamilton, what he's talking about is he's talking about people that are actually committing crimes.
Yeah,
We're talking about people that who have been multiple DWIs.
Exactly.
You're talking domestic violence. You're talking,
molestation, all kinds of stuff.
You're talking rape. Exactly. People that have actually committed crimes. And I cannot believe the city of Austin, wants to support child molesters and not send child molesters and people that have done multiple crimes back to their country. Yeah. And the shame on the city of Austin.
This is where the data needed to be presented at that meeting, because that's what I'm looking for. What is the data on exactly what you're talking about, Michael?
There was a 36-page.
And that wasn't presented, so you have to have both sides of this.
Actually, every news station has a copy of that. KLBJ was the one that posted it. We actually have copies of it that we can send out for one day. 36 pages of criminals, hardened criminals, not people that were
real criminals. We're not talking about traffic tickets. They're talking about crimes. They're talking about people that
I want to see the statistics, and that's what they need to show.
Not just one, but 2 DWIs.
But one is too many.
Because we're down to 1 minute, so say something quick. Start. You got 2 seconds.
Well, in District 4, we're concerned about affordability, traffic, and crime, and I'm working on the Restore Runberg team to work on the crime issues in our area. We've got the highest crime rate in the whole city, and we've got some corrective actions that we're doing there.
30 seconds left.
All right.
I'm Bill Worsham. I'm Bill Worsham in District 10.
I'm Jay Wiley, District 6.
Vote for Sam Osemene, District 1, the only choice.
We want to thank everyone for being here on the Trailer Park Show.
Thanks for having us.
Very glad and honored to have you guys on here.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of James Pokey, Michael Cargill from Central Texas Gunworks, and myself, thank you very much for being here, and we will see you guys next week with a brand new show.
Just call Greg.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, open for all.